they had a very, and we talked about this in class yesterday, they had a very difficult time following the lyrics, and we discussed this, which was really helpful for them today, because they came back, wow, I'm informed now. They had a difficult time following their own lyrics, and ironically, they had a hard time figuring out the bass clef. Isn't that because I've never done anything, it's always scored in treble clef for them.
Right.
And I have such astute musicians
Yes.
that they were like, oh, wait, am I supposed to sing this down the octave? I was like, no, sing it up the octave. But once we got into it and we chomped into it, I can tell you by the third page that we started rehearsing, by the time we got to the third page, they started understanding it. It was almost, it's interesting, it was a foreign language to them.
Yeah.
And by the time they got into, okay, well, this is how her lyrics fit, and this is what we're singing, and we're not each one of us telling our own little sentence, where it's like fragmented all over the place, they started to understand it a lot more. So it was a really interesting process now that you ask, because at first it was just like this, well, what are we doing? And then all of a sudden, oh, okay, we got it. And by the end, I mean, I wish you could have seen the process, because by the end, because I make them sight read.
Right.
I never play anything for them. I don't care.
Oh,
and so by the end of the piece, we were sight reading the last two pages, and we were breezing right through it. But the first two pages was like, have you never learned music before? It's 8 notes, guys.
When you think about it, if it's a brand new piece too, it's a different sound rule, because every piece is its own sound rule. But if it's a piece that has existed before, it's almost like there's a common knowledge in the air. I've noticed this with pieces of mine. Always for the first group doing it, it is much, much harder. The next group that does it, even if they don't hear a recording, somehow it's a little bit easier.
Isn't that interesting?
And I've never been able to figure out what the reasoning for that is. And it's a little scary when you're the person bringing the piece into the world, if you're the performer, because you're basically making the history of that piece. They're the ones opening the door for the first time. Other people will be able to walk through, but they're the ones opening the door.